Monkey here, dorking it up, and today I've got a lot of rad ops core gear to show you. So starting off, have the AMP, the Adaptive Mission Platform, and that refers to their latest and greatest headset comms package. To be used in conjunction, have the NFMI plugs, near field magnetic induction, makes for a rad combo. And I'm not quite baller enough to have two sets, but I'll show going from headset to the rail attachment setup for this helmet, which is the Fast SF Super High Cut version. So this is their latest and greatest lightweight ballistic setup. And OpsCore already has like some pretty cool videos, so I'm going to concentrate it on a small person's perspective. So I'm more of like a small dude size and an average lady warrior size. Starting off with the AMP headset. Some notable features: it has the nice gel style ear cups for comfort. When I first turned it on, it had noticeably nice sound quality. Compared to older stuff, usually you'd hear that gainy hiss. When I first turned these on, it was like, wow, this is almost close to normal hearing. And so even when you bump it up, which is a nice option, say you want to hear some ninjas creeping up on you, it's definitely a plus of having some sort of active electronic ear pro. Some other notable cool features: you're able to take the microphone off or switch it to the other side. You can see here a plug where it comes with two plugs. I went ahead and showed it because it's obviously +1 to operator looks to have a microphone, but get it out of the way easy if you're not using it, and if you want it totally out of the way, because it can be a snag thing, it's very easy to take out, which is pretty cool. On that note, you can see there's two down leads. So for when you're actually doing fancy comms, you're like a cool JTAC kind of guy calling in airframes. You can have two push-to-talk setups. That's pretty damn fancy. And showing it on the back on purpose. So it's nice that there's two separate battery compartments instead of like some of the Supreme Soren setups. It was no fun jamming in two batteries and where it goes in and then drops down. It's a total pain in the ass sometimes. So it's nice to have two distinct battery compartments. Makes that a lot easier. Another cool thing is there's a one-wrap style headband, so it's very easy to take things off when you want to use this for other applications. So I can pop it out of here, and so that's like the main side, but also has the one-wrap style headband, so you don't have to like destroy your headband every time you want to do some other applications with it. On most tactical slim style headsets, you'll get about a 22-ish NRR rating, which is noise reduction rating, and that's just kind of how it is. If you want them more, usually they're bulkier and they get pretty rowdy sized to get more into the 30s. So that's cool where they option to offer the NFMI plugs. These on their own offer about a 30. And so when used in conjunction with the headsets, you get up to 34. And so it's kind of a quickie, little small details on this. So they come with the lanyard, but they're like welded in there. There's not an easy way to disconnect. So I wish there was a way to take them off to play with them where it's nice at first if you want retention, but say you start snagging when you get layers of stuff going on, it's easy to find yourself where you got to weed through the layers to get the plugs out of the way. Also on that note, for installation, they show you where you want them like this, where the back divot is going to the rear of your head. So they show a method where you do this reach around action and you jam it in there all at once. But sometimes when me playing, everybody's ear canal is going to be different. So sometimes I'll start where I can feel it insert and then just rotate it back into position to where it's supposed to be, and that kind of pushes and angles everything to the proper intended result. And for some smaller details, usually on an insert, you want to prep it where you're smashing it like a usual pro earplug. And they come with 3 different tips. By default, I'm using small just to make things easier, but it seems to be filling and noise protecting just fine. Getting into NFMI combo details, one thing I was a little worried about was if the retention lanyard caused any comfort issues. So far hasn't been a problem. Haven't had any pressure points or friction zones, so one less thing to worry about. Jumping into usability, the main amp business buttons are 2 here at the bottom and then 1 NFMI button on the side. To get the party started, hold the volume up button for a few seconds. And then you hear little beeps to let you know it engaged. And then it becomes apparent, like what would happen if you just used some normal chump earplugs. And so now you've got this nice sound being stopped by these dead earplugs. But we have the fancy earplugs, so we press the NFMI button. And so now it's taking this nice sound and projecting them directly into the earplugs. You get the sweet end result at a 34 NRR rating. Another consideration is the battery life. Say if you have just the amp on, is about 120 hours on 2 AAAs if you have like some nice lithiums. But if you have the NFMI engaged, it's about 80 hours. And while here, some usability notes are, say, once everything's on, if you hold the volume down button, it'll just keep going down to the lowest volume setting, and volume up will go to the highest volume up. So to turn it off, you're supposed to hit both these buttons at the same time. And there's this split nub that makes it very difficult, at least for my monkey hands. So I end up having to do this double hand method. Otherwise, I'm like jacking it up, and it's just very unreliable unless I hold both at the same time. Not the end of the world, but would have been nice if maybe just add another button over here. Or I like how on the Supremes there's just a power button that's a single button. Anyway, one small con to bring up, otherwise the amp is pretty sweet. Getting back into helmets, I thought might as well go over why you would even want a super high cut helmet. So not too terribly long ago, old MICH here was a pretty cool guy helmet, the ACH, which I have many fond memories of this bad boy. And so this was a pretty good upgrade over the PAS GT helmet. Modernization, we finally get pads on the interior, not like a stupid donut headband thing going on. But also the concept of having some sort of electronic ear pro was unique to the soldier level at that time. So it's kind of 2 new technologies that hadn't quite merged together. So the Peltors here was an example where they changed the shape to even fit in the helmet to begin with. And even then you had to change the pads around so that you didn't get all like the super high jacked up look. And then later they made helmet versions, so the top was very streamlined to go in there. But even with all this, I'll show you the best case for a small person here. So get this guy on first, and then move to the next step. And so you see the problem here, I have a small person chin strap, but the ear pro is a standardized size. So you gotta like slink one side over, do it on the next. Not exactly a rapid high speed process. Finally get your damn chin strap on. Try and not look too jacked up one way. So finally you're all squared away, but so now say you're like this for 8 hours, something is gonna start hurting. It doesn't matter if it's the best ear pro in the world, you're gonna get some pressure points start hurting. And to get off, you gotta take everything off. So this mess is no fun to try and put back on. You gotta do the exact same steps like I showed you. Jumping to the latest ops core setup, worth mentioning there was an in-between phase where they started adding connectors to the rail packages to then also your favorite ear pro. So at least then you could get a little bit of pop off and it wasn't such a big fuss to go from getting some sort of ear relief, having your helmet on and off. But check this out. So say you need a little break, just go boom, spread eagle. That's pretty nice. Just so give everything a little break. Needed a little bit lower profile, you can jack them up here like so. And say it's going to be a while, you can even go further, go all the way back. And it changes, shifts the weight a little bit, but it's a pretty nice option. Let's say it's go time again. You can do both at once or one at a time. Get everything squared away. And see, it's quite quick. You didn't have to take the whole damn helmet off. Getting into external details, the Fast helmet is noticeably lighter. MICH helmet with that rail package is about 3 pounds 6 ounces, and then the Fast helmet is about 2 pounds 4 ounces without any sort of electronic ear pro gear. So that kind of savings, you can basically get night vision for free weight-wise. That's a pretty big tech upgrade. Other noticeable differences. So the bungees had been in the rail system for a long time, so now they're into the night vision shroud. And so the purpose of that, so you can get a little stabilization, a little less jiggle, but mainly if you get your night vision whacked off, it has some sort of retention because you don't want to lose that very expensive piece. Also went ahead and showed a big bulky light on the side to display that you can get around it. It doesn't jack up the system. And normally with like those other packages, whereas attachment rails to your ear pro, that would have gotten in the way. This would have been way too much space. Also noteworthy on the back is the OCC dial system. So say if you go from normal helmet to night vision setup, got some big boy quads. Nice to be able to dial that in real quick, get a little more stability, so you can do a little more head banging and comfort. Some other features worth mentioning on the rail mount kit is it's nice just how rotatable the ear cups are. So you can get real forward and back and to really play nice with the comfort of your ear shape. And then it can even push out and in, different face shapes. And when you first put it on, where it mounts to the helmet, I think most people probably click into the low zone, but it can go up even higher and then get at different angles. So you can really accommodate a lot of different face shapes. And a small thing, but I felt was a cool add-on where the loop package comes with the helmet. You don't have to buy some separate thing. But if you're going to do a whole lot of different cord routing, you probably do want to get a helmet cover setup. So getting back to small person experiences, when you're first looking into the size of the helmet, you do the old measuring tape trick where you do the headband and then like this, and there's unfortunately a little fudge room, like depending on the angle in the back, you know, what your haircut is at the time, how tight you do it. They show you a little graphic on how to best, what they intend the measurement to be, but it's a bit of fudge room. But anyway, at the time, it was about 21.75 inch, and that's just barely a medium on ops core size. And to be honest, I didn't even look at the next size because my old MICH was an obvious medium, like I had room to spare. So the first one I got was the tan. And so when I first put it on, the OCC dial in the back was like super cranked down, just it was riding really high because there were other bigger pads in it. And so it had me worried, and I gave them a call to talk about it. And one of the first things, they told me to take out the nape pad. So this was in the back, and it seems to be a standard option. But as far as I could tell, all it did was push things up, and I wasn't able to go back as far. It's made to be able to go up and down in the helmet, but even on as high up as possible, all it did was give me trouble. And so fortunately, the pad kit lets me switch that out, so it's just a simple pad. I think I'm able to get much more neck access, and so I recommend is that the first thing. Take the nape pad out unless you're a big person or doing heavy loads. It seems that is the main intent for that. So even after taking out the universal nape pad, I was able to get the tan helmet to fit pretty good using slim pads. But then I was looking at the measurements again and the sizes, and I was like, oh crap, the large actually starts at 22 inch. Remeasured myself and looked like at that day I was about a little bit over 22 inch. And then the instructions say if you're borderline like that, you should go ahead and round up to the next size. And it's an expensive investment. So I was like, oh crap, well, I guess I better try the large. And so for the multicam version that I'm showing today, this is a large. And I would say the main difference I noticed, I didn't see a whole lot more depth as far as up and down, but there was a lot more side room. So I was using the thickest pads on the sides to try and accommodate to fight this type of movement. And I was still able to make it work. It was also noticeable that it had the left-hand shooter strap, and so that showed how important that is. How I was so used to the correct right-hand shooter one, so that was kind of a side story important part. But I'd say at the end of the day, even though I was borderline, I felt the tan with very slim pads got a nice snug fit. But if I was going to do a whole lot of like banging into stuff, then probably better to have the larger helmet with the more padding. And it also goes to show, I would think, start with your core helmet setup, even though you're going to add on, because as I was saying, if you have a high cut, your intent should definitely be to have ear pro. But you want to make sure you like your helmet setup without it, and that it only gets better when you add it on. For some fit considerations that may not be obvious offhand, when you're first trying to find out your zone here, they recommend your eyebrow have about 1/2 inch to 1 inch from your tip of the eyebrow to the helmet brim. And so that's why I've been wearing eye pro, to make that a little bit more obvious. So it's this whole other side story when you have your chin strap in, that where you want to find this balance, where you don't want it so tight that's pushing everything down. You don't want it so loose that you're losing your stability features. So you got to find this, comfort balance where you can run without flying around everywhere. And then you also want a gap here though too, because like, say you're breathing hard, or you're like, hey, drop it, or whatever. You don't want to push it down into the pushes on the nose every time you try and open your mouth to do some communication skills. Also, say you put night vision on and now you're adding a whole weight, and so that pushes everything down. You may need to tweak your settings on the fly. So you want to keep in mind of this without like super getting obsessed about how much space you have in that brim zone. So I wanted to try and go over the padding setup that I ended up with the tan medium. So you can see here I have the simple nape pad, where it usually comes with the universal nape pad as the bigger chunk piece. And as I talked about earlier, that just caused more problems for me personally. So I took that out, got in the simple one, and I have mostly the slim pads down the middle, and then a little bit thicker on the sides to fill that in. Notably, here you can see the OCC dial, how it crunches in mostly from this direction, not getting as much side crunching. So I thought that was worth showing how that works. So as a summary from somebody that's this borderline medium large size, I say I'm liking my tan medium just a little bit more. It seems to be helping stabilize this type of rotation. The large I could definitely make do if I was assigned it or just ended up with one, but the medium feels a little bit more snug. The large has a little bit more padding up top, so if like my operator job was holding logs on my head all day long, then I would appreciate that more. But slim pads on the tan seem to be good enough. I don't think I'm going to change my hair size much, and even though it's cutting it close, it seems to be the most comfortable end result fit. Other considerations, where some people may be worried about the size from the rail mount kit, I would say it's pretty comparable to like the upper rail mounts of other setups. Especially if you really need to dial that in, you can just get an old MICH and use plug-in style earplugs if you really need to slim things down. But as a complete package, this is a really noticeable like 10-year technology leap to me. So I'm almost glad I held out for it, because that way it's more noticeable. Everything works together. It looks really well planned. I'm not just like using one other company's things and brute forcing it into another. Everything just really goes well together. Additionally, I tried not to get into it too much because OpsCore already has some really good instructional videos on how to install things, so check those out. But hopefully this video was a little bit different, and hopefully it was helpful, so thanks for watching. If you like this video and want to support us, please check out the MIL-SPEC Monkey Store. Although known for morale patches, we also specialize in a good selection of DIY hardware and tactical accessories.